I guess I can go ahead and share that. Well, yeah. Last week, Besu came and found this issue in Get implementation as it pertains to block hash computation. And it is a legit issue, and I have pushed a fix for it. Yeah, I have some review comments that I have to address, and hopefully I can get it merged soon.
Sounds good. I did some testing with the authorization list stuff, and then I noticed that the Eth call and others don't support them either. And then we should decide what do we do with it. But we need to add probably some kind of method to the Eth simulate as well, and the same thing for the Eth call as well, so that we can simulate those transactions as well.
Yeah. So on that, I think it's something that needs to be brought up between all clients. I mean, we can really here only discuss it for Eth Simulate, and I think it would be good to have a coordinated or consistent API together with Eth call. So it would be nice that if every other client can also chime in.
What's the thing? The
Type 4 transactions.
7702, right?
I think that's the same, yeah.
Yep.
And we cannot recover them, right? That's the problem.
Well, there's multiple signatures in the transaction, and the way the signatures are validated is not in the EVM. It's
yeah.
And we don't currently have a way to we disable the signature check for the other signatures, but those transactions come through with like a from field, right? And so you can figure out who the sender is supposed to be. But for those the array of things, we would need something similar, like an array of authorized people or whatever. Since if they're not valid signatures, they can't be recovered.
Yeah, let me check where is it recovered in our code, just to have like a.
I think it would be nice that you could pass those signature params, or you can pass the address. So either of them would be fine.
Yeah, we've talked about having mixed types though, and it's annoying in some clients.
Like it would be nice that you could check that the transaction is fully valid, and also enable the spoofing way.
Huh.
So yeah, my 2 cents is that creating this kind of signatures is not that huge of an issue. It's not the same as signing the transaction, because that's very hard to do for Eth call. So I mean, one option is also just having the signature, but I think for me the important thing is that we all agree on one solution. So either requiring a signature for the authentication or adding a new field. Lukasz?
Yeah, so my proposition would be, because we have a field there in this object called authority, so and there's authority signature. So either you pass a signature and it has to be recovered and it goes through recovery, or you pass authority as just an address and we just skip the recovery.
Is authority is an array? Is that correct?
No. It's just address, because it's on the single tuple on the single element of the list.
Okay, so you have a list of either addresses or a list of signatures or a mixed list of addresses and signatures. All three are acceptable.
Yeah. Everything would be fine for us. So if you pass, so it's like you pass from instead of signature to the transaction, right? So you would pass authority instead of authority signature, right?
And is this something that is already like you're proposing, or is it already on Nethermind the case?
So it's like internal Nethermind types, right? But it's not on JSON RPC in any way.
Okay.
So that's what I'm proposing. Well, and we can call it differently or whatever, right? Because yeah, so authority.
Are all three of
Yeah.
those allowed?
Well,
Allowed address signature. This
Is a mix of either each item in the array is either a signature or an address.
I'm fine with mixing them even, right? It's
Okay.
whatever for me.
but it's not that just pure list like that. It contains also the other information like JNID, ID, and address, and the nonce. And then you either have the authority or you have the signature.
Oh, I see. We have a list of objects, and each object has an authority property on it.
Yes, exactly.
And then the authority property you're saying is either an address or it's a signature.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Or we can have
Well,
authority for address or signature for signature, right? We can have two fields.
it's more fields because there's the RS and U parity. I think there's 3 fields for
Yeah. Okay.
the signature.
Let me check how it looks. Authorization list for RPC. Yeah, because for RPC we have different types. Yeah, we have parity SNR, right? So instead of parity SNR, you would just pass authority.
Yeah. I guess there's no, this would be needed to add it to the JSON RPC spec to the transaction object, I guess.
Yes.
Or the,
Yes.
is that something I can do? Probably know the right place for it.
I mean, I can make the PR, but getting it merged is the other. Like getting approval from clients.
I think we should get approval pretty easily because this is for ETH call and simulate, right? And others of this kind of like the bug call, so should be doable to get approval.
I mean, so what I imagine is like the main pipeline is having the signatures, and adding this authority field. This is where I think might be some difficulty, because I mean in Geth it is a bit more involved to allow authority to be passed in from outside. We can do it, and I just imagine that other clients might kind of complain.
Yeah, it's not completely out of the box because we don't allow this now. So when we have authority, I think we already trust it in our code base, and now we will have to still check that if we have authority and signature or don't have signature, we still need to. Yeah, so there's a bit more validation on our side, especially in transaction pool and blocks. But yeah, but that's a few lines of code in both places, so not a big deal.
Yep.
Like 2 lines of code here, 2 lines of code here.
Is the signature a object or is it just right on the?
No, it's right on the. It's right on
Yeah.
there. Right on there. And Y parity is integer, I think, 0 or 1, not true or false.
Okay, so something like that. You either
Yeah,
have an authority field that has an address in it, or you can have RS and Y parity.
exactly.
I'm assuming if you have both on one of these objects and they don't match, it's invalid. If you have both and they do match, is that allowed? Or should we just say you have to have one or the other?
I would say if you have both and they match, it's allowed, right? If you,
I think that would be nice.
basically, if you have signature kind of is the more important one, right? And
Yeah.
you can either say an error or just ignore authority then completely. So one of the other.
I would say we should error if the authority that's provided doesn't match the signature. That could be useful for users because they can then pass both, and then the client will say, "Hey, you're doing something wrong. Go fix your code."
Yeah, they're quite nice that you can quite easily check that it matches what you expect.
Yeah, sure. Let me drop a message to our 7702 developer, Anders, and to Marek, because this is hard fork related.
I guess for hard hat also this would be quite useful. How many methods there are used? There's Eth call, and then there's Eth Simulate and estimate gas. Are there others than those three?
Debug, trace call, trace call, so trace transaction, I think, or whatever. I don't remember those, but there are a few.
Okay.
Tracing related, estimate gas, also.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to discuss? I think this is quite important, but I don't know if you have any others.
I don't. And this all sounds good to you, Sina, this proposed structure?
Yes.
Okay. We should double check with Besu. They said he can't make the call today, but he is in Telegram. Just make sure he's okay with this as well.
I think this is important, all of the implementers of this transaction type.
Yes. I mentioned Gabriel just because he is easy to get a hold of for us since he's part of this group.
What's the impact of this transaction? Is that also in the Eth Simulate? We also need to do something special for this. In the Nethermind, you can pass this object at the moment in the Eth Simulate, but I haven't tested that. Does it do what it should? Because I don't think there's any method where you can pull these values.
I'm not sure what's your question about. Can you repeat?
I mean, if I run simulate with these methods and how I can test that it actually did what it's supposed to be doing, I don't think you can pull. There's no opcode or anything where I can pull these fields from the chain.
So authority would be the code that would be delegated to, right? Or authority is no, address is the code that is being delegated to, and authority would be the address it's delegating from. So then, if you send a transaction from authority, right, it should use the smart wallet from the address.
Is trying to send the transaction the only way to test that this exists, or can you pull somehow this from the chain? There's no kind of get method for this.
I think there is an opcode for this, but that's still a transaction.
What do you want to read?
I would want to set those fields, and then I would want to kind of see what was set so that I could kind of confirm that actually they worked.
Oh. So I know that if you do Xcode load, is it called, of the authority, then it should return the address plus some prefix. So this is a way of telling that the authority was really set or configured.
There can be only one authority per address?
Yes. And you can reset it by setting it to address 0. Or you can change it to any address, but you can also like just clear it by setting it to address 0.
Okay. And then I guess I would try to send the transaction there. That would be the other test.
Yeah, I think it would be an interesting test to do, like set the authority and then check it via Xcode operations. Well, actually, I'm sorry, you cannot do the Xcode full read of another contract, but you can do the Xcode hash, and the hash is you can compute easily, or you can do Xcode size, and then the length should be 23.
I'm going to just get the hash in a way I kind of. Then I would actually know what it should be, and then I just test against it. But I guess I can pull the address directly.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can hash it. Yeah, you just add the prefix to the address and that you expect, and then hash Keshak. And then, yeah, it should match what you get from the opcode.
Why are we storing the hash instead of the address directly? I would imagine the address would be more useful, and that's probably short. That's also shorter than the hash, I guess.
No, the address is stored. It's just that Xcode hash returns the hash. Like you can open
but
the
I
hash
cannot
of-
pull the address directly. In the Xcode, where I can just get the whole code.
Do we have Xcode? I'm pretty sure not.
I think you can get the bytecode of a contract at least.
Oh yeah, Xcode copy. Yep. Yeah, that would work too.
I think that would be better. Yeah, I can look into that. Anything else? If not,
I do
then
not.
let's talk next week again.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
See ya. Bye.
Next week.
See you
Bye.
next week. Bye.